When he became concerned his son wasn't using his free time wisely, Richard Sheirer's father knew just where to take the boy and his younger brother. He enrolled Richard and his younger brother at the Flatbush Boys Club, the same Brooklyn club he himself had gone to a generation earlier. Knowing the boys were in good hands was a relief to their parents. They knew we were in a good environment, he recalls, with good people watching out for us. At the club, Richard participated in educational and leadership programs. It was my first experience leading and running things, he recalls. Little did he know how crucial those leadership skills would be in the future. In 2000, Richard, a 30-year veteran of New York's fire and police departments, was named director of the city's Office of Emergency Management. Barely 18 months later, he directed city response operations immediately after the September 11 attacks. He then oversaw the then largest cleanup in American history. New York Magazine proclaimed him the unsung hero of the hot zone. Today, Richard continues to support clubs. He recently attended a special event where he saw one of his mentors from his days at the Flatbush Club. Now a senior vice president for consulting firm Giuliani Partners, Richard says the club gave him a solid foundation for life. Were it not for my club experiences, he says, I would have gone down a different path, and not a good path. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Sheirer.
This is quite an honor. This is my city. This is my home. This is where I raised my children. But if it weren't for the Flatbush Boys Club, I wouldn't be standing here today. The Boys Club changed my life. I was a very young teenager who moved into a new neighborhood when my dad had gotten sick and lost his job. We were one of the transitional families that each of you work with and help. And I was starting to hang out with a group of neighborhood kids who definitely weren't Boys Club kids. Then an incident occurred, and my dad grabbed me by the back of the neck and said, "You're going to the Flatbush Boys Club." It's what his dad had done to him a generation before. Took me to the Boys Club, and from there my life changed. I learned about playing together with people without having to fight. I learned things I never learned about leadership and its importance, but I didn't learn it directly. There's a man who's here today who made such a significant difference in my life and in every person that went to the Flatbush Boys Club, to the South Queens Boys Club, to the Madison Boys Club, and his name is Jim Castellanos. Jim was the program director, and quietly and with the strength that it took, he took a group of us and he made us what we are today. Charlie Riley, I don't know if he's here, is an assistant U.S. attorney in the Department of Justice. Tony Sagona, a doctor. And probably most important is the friend we all lost, Richard Godkin, who was the executive director of the South Queens Boys Club, who was murdered about 25 years ago. Jim made an everlasting impression on each of us. And if it wasn't for the Boys Club, there's no doubt I wouldn't be here. I would have been at the other Boys Club that my folks worried where I was going to go, and that's called Rikers. But there's one other thing. I ride by the Flatbush Boys Club. Now it's the Boys and Girls Club, often. And recently I was involved with the Northeast Region Youth of the Year selection, and the amazing children, the amazing young people that participated this year and every year, and that you have made into young men and women who will be such contributors to this society is amazing. You have changed the lives of children for decades. You have made their quality of life better. You have made their families' quality of life better. And all I can say is thank you.